before you consider your performance in each exam, you have to first identify the kind of strategies you are going to use to learn or to study your books. So if you are going to write an objective exam, the strategies you are going to apply is going to be different from the one you are going to apply if you are going to write an essay exam. Sometimes throughout my secondary school, I don't have experience of writing an objective exam. Most of my exams from GSS1 to SS3 are purely in essay. So sometimes when it came to JAMB time, I was a little bit afraid because I never took objective exam before. So when it happened and I met a friend and a brother that was schooling in one private school like that, and he told me how objective questions usually are. Sometimes it can be confusing. There is somehow hard that it's also easy to fail than essay. I was like, okay. So when I pick up my textbooks to read, I don't just read anyhow. I was so conscious of taking everything down. So as if you see my jotter, all the books I used to summarize, I can boldly tell you that if you because I jot almost everything from the textbook, so I don't want to miss any key point. So as I was reading, then I was taking down some things. I was making sure I didn't fail. So when JAMB comes up, and before then I was able to learn how to use CBT via my phone. So I was trying to making some attempt to answer some question by myself, how objective question are being answered before the exam day. So if you are going to read for objectives, especially for JAMB, you have to read it very well. There is no point, there is no step you are going to jump because you don't know where exactly the question are going to come out. In objective, they may hardly ask you what is chemistry, what is physics. You will just go to one place where you least expected and bring out some questions, and you will be like, oh, this thing is very simple, but you did not read precept by precept. So when you are going to read, you have to be smart and make sure things that you are reading are accurate, and make sure you participate or perform well in revising yourself, in trying to understand what you are reading. So when it comes to reading for essay, especially for during class exam, if you are going to write class exam, in some exams they don't do objectives. So what you are going to do, you need to focus on some key aspect. That is why it's good to be in attendance in almost all the lectures or all the classes, so that you know there's some areas where lecturer mostly talk on the topics he mostly waste time on. So there was a test I wrote recently. If you see the kind of place the man set question from the two, even my fellow students were surprised. Unless you read it well, you did not escape any part of the question. So that is how it works. So most time you have to don't just skip any part. Don't skip any part. The way you are reading for objective is quite different from the way you are reading for essay. Essay, you may just focus on some topics and some key points that will help you in your exam. But in objective, even though under some disadvantages, even the keys under the disadvantages, you are still going to read it, because you may likely come across a question from under some disadvantages. In objective, they may likely bring out some key and they will bring the options under, and they ask you to select the options or one that are related to this particular statement. So you can see that in objective there's nothing like that. What they will ask you to go straight to the point, or they ask you to discuss, or they ask you to explain or define. In objective, that is how the question normally comes out in the essay. So what you do, you should know the differences and the strategies to use for this reading. So thank you.